On the night of October 8, 1871, Chicago was the fastest-growing city in America, and by morning, most of it was gone. A fire that started in a barn on the city's southwest side burned for roughly 30 hours, destroyed more than 17,000 buildings, and left over 100,000 people without a home. This wasn't a small town caught off guard. This was the commercial engine of the entire Midwest, reduced to ash in a single weekend. And the strange part isn't that it burned. It's what the city built in its place. In 1850, Chicago was a muddy outpost of about 30,000 people. By 1870, it had grown to over 300,000, a tenfold jump in 20 years, one of the fastest urban expansions the world had ever seen. It sat exactly where the Great Lakes met the railroads, which made it the funnel every piece of grain, lumber, and livestock in the American interior had to pass through on its way east. Chicago didn't just grow. It became the single busiest junction of trade in the country, and everyone knew it. To understand how completely the fire would strip that away, we have to look at what made Chicago's rise possible in the first place. 5 things stacked on top of each other, each one raising the stakes for what was about to happen. The first was that junction itself, the lakes for shipping, the railroads for everything else, meeting in one place with no real competitor for hundreds of miles. The second was the Union stockyards, which had opened just 5 years earlier and were already processing more meat than anywhere else on Earth. Chicago wasn't just moving goods, it was building an industry around them. The third was the grain trade, with elevators lining the river capable of moving more wheat and corn than any port in the world. The fourth was the sheer speed of the population growth itself, which meant housing, streets, and sidewalks were going up faster than anyone could plan for them properly. And the fifth, the one that would matter most in a few hours, was that almost none of it was built to last. Wood was cheap, wood was fast, and in 1871, wood was Chicago. That final pillar was the one nobody was thinking about on the evening of October 8th. The summer had been unusually dry. Barely an inch of rain had fallen in weeks. The sidewalks, nearly 500 miles of them across the city, were made of wood. The roofs were wood. The fences, the barns, the grain elevators themselves. Chicago hadn't just built a city. It had built a city-sized stack of kindling, and it had been drying out for months. At around 8:30 that evening, in a barn behind a small house on DeKoven Street, something caught fire. Nobody knows for certain what started it. The story of Catherine O'Leary's cow kicking over a lantern has been told for 150 years, and it isn't true. What is true is that within minutes, that small barn fire met the driest summer Chicago had seen in years, a 30-mile-an-hour wind out of the southwest, and a city built almost entirely out of fuel. The fire didn't need luck. Chicago had built every condition it needed already.